Then God said, "Let us make humankind in our image according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the wild animals of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon earth." So God created humankind in his image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the air and over every living thing that moves upon earth." The opening chapter of Genesis is familiar to us all. It portrays a sovereign God bringing order out of chaos, life out of earth with beauty, goodness, relationship. The verses I just read are remarkable, including, as they do, God's declaration that humankind is made in God's own image, and that humankind is instructed to subdue the earth and given dominion over every living creature. In his commentary on Genesis from the Interpretation series, well-known scholar of the Hebrew Scriptures Walter Brueggemann writes that, quote, "The creation, which exists only because of and for the sake of the Creator's purpose, has freedom to respond to the Creator in various ways, and that the response of creation to the Creator is a mixture of faithful obedience and recalcitrant self-assertion." As a northern industrial state, New Jersey, the Garden State, is challenged with serious environmental issues from air and water pollution to containing sprawl and preserving natural habitats and reserves. Recalcitrant self-assertion is evident all around. In 2012, this diocese was devastated by Superstorm Sandy. There is wide consensus that global warming, while perhaps not the cause of the storm, was likely responsible for the magnitude of Sandy. More recalcitrant self-assertion. How are we to respond as people of faith? There is also a growing body of scientific evidence that global warming is causing our sea levels to rise at continually accelerating rates. Estimates of how much our global sea levels will rise by the year 2100 vary widely, from a minimum of 1.5 feet to as much as 8 feet. Even a median increase of 4 feet would be devastating for our diocese. Certainly the usual suspects, our coastal and barrier island churches, would be immediately vulnerable. But as you can see, resulting increases in levels of our bays and rivers put places you wouldn't normally think of at risk: Salem, Pennsville, and Penns Grove, for example. An increase of 6 feet would jeopardize many more of our Delaware River community churches, as well as some further inland along estuaries notorious for flooding, such as Rancocos Creek. Yet today, the United States stands alone in the world as the only country outside the Paris Climate Accord. More recalcitrant self-assertion. In 2009, the General Convention held in Anaheim, California, adopted the Genesis Covenant. Anyone remember that? The Genesis Covenant? A couple of hands. It challenged faith institutions, the Episcopal Church and others, to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions of each facility they maintain by 50% over 10 years. That 10-year period is almost over, and we have not yet realized the goal of reducing our carbon footprint by 50%. Our churches face challenges. We use lots of carbon in running our buildings. Many of them, though beautiful, are large, old, and terribly inefficient. In 2015, Father Jack Zamboni and the leadership of St. Francis de Nelen, where are you? I know you're over there somewhere. There we go. Go ahead, acknowledge them. Yay. In 2015, Father Jack Zamboni and the leadership of St. Francis de Nelen instituted a long-term program they labeled the Greening of the Church. St. Francis was one of the first congregations in our diocese to participate with the organization Green Faith and its director, Episcopal priest Fletcher Harper. The diocese entered into an agreement with Green Faith on behalf of the parishes in 2014. This afforded discounted services. Prior to their work with Green Faith, the church knew they needed to replace a 50-year-old boiler in their parish hall. The existing boiler was inefficient. They received 3 bids for the replacement work, all in the range of $9,000. Working with Green Faith, they learned about available state grants that would cover up to 70% of the costs for efficiency upgrades to lighting and HVAC equipment. Green Faith arranged for a contractor to do an energy audit of their entire facility. The audit results showed that St. Francis could qualify for a grant for the boiler replacement, and they also discovered for a second 25-year-old furnace, as long as they upgraded their lighting fixtures to more efficient fluorescent fixtures and/or LED lights. The total cost of all the upgrades, including the boiler replacement, was $45,380, but their cost after the grant was $13,614, only $4,600 more than replacing what the one boiler would have cost. The upgrades were done in March of 2015. At the same time, St. Francis switched electricity suppliers from PSE&G to a less expensive green supplier, further contributing to their bottom line while also reducing their carbon footprint. St. Francis Church realized significant savings in the rest of that year and even more in the following years, 30% on average for the 2 full years in the upgraded setup compared to the 5 prior years, 35% comparing the last 2 years of the old system with 2 full years of the new. The annual savings of approximately $3,700 is lower than initial projections of $4,900, but is substantial nonetheless. Father Zamboni reports that all of this will reduce their carbon footprint significantly, thus contributing to the stewardship of God's creation. The ongoing energy savings, which will continue once the loan they took out to pay for the boiler and other work is paid off, will free up funds to support other aspects of St. Francis's ministry. They saw it as a win-win. I agree. Great work, St. Francis Dunellen. We can do that. Eight years ago, Father Jeff Kirk in Grace Church Merchantville, where are you? There we go. Give him a hand. Father Jeff Kirk and Grace Church Merchantville began taking steps to make their buildings more energy efficient and environmentally friendly. They replaced aged, inefficient windows throughout the campus with more efficient windows. They replaced existing doors with more efficient doors, incandescent chandeliers with more efficient compact fluorescent bulb chandeliers that greatly improved illumination. Grace Church upgraded the parish hall attic insulation and installed 2 heat pumps and ceiling air conditioning for use as needed to heat or cool the room quickly. They upgraded existing air conditioning. In 2012, the vestry had 86 250-watt solar panels installed on their flat roof, which has an ideal southern exposure. The panels reduced their electrical costs by about 30%. They were installed by, this is a commercial right here. They were installed by Powell Energy and Solar of Moorestown. Powell and his partner, Brad Dan, are both members of St. Peter's Medford and have had similar projects for that parish in St. Mary's, Stone Harbor. In 2014, Grace Church's oil-fired steam heating boiler, affectionately called Big Bertha, everyone wants to say that, go ahead and say it, Big Bertha, was replaced with 2 relatively small natural gas-fired hot water boilers with 7 new heating zones added, all with computerized controls. The $122,000 cost for engineering, asbestos removal of the old boiler, and new piping throughout the building was paid for with a bequest of $50,000, a special gift of $40,000, and pledges for 3 years of $32,000. The first year Grace used its new heating system, it reduced heating costs by over $10,000. This affords me an opportunity to pitch Project Resource, which is now the Stewardship Committee of the Diocese of New Jersey. Through Project Resource, we are encouraging every congregation to engage in holistic financial stewardship that amps up. AMP standing for annual campaigns, major gifts, and planned giving. The financial strength and position of the congregation can be improved through well-conceived and executed annual giving campaigns that emphasize giving from a thankful heart, the use of major gifts to help manage one-time capital expenses and to help build endowments, and planned giving, which includes the creation of active legacy societies in each congregation. I am grateful to Father Bob Fitzpatrick and Father David Snyder for their willingness to lead this initiative. Both St. Francis de Nelen and Grace Church Merchantville offer examples of how efficient approaches to energy both serve the environment and provide additional monies for mission and ministry. But there is more to it than money. Grace Church began a vegetable garden that provides additional fresh vegetables for their food pantry. It offers the people of Grace a weekly reminder when they attend church services that they are the stewards of creation. The food pantry serves about 400 people each month with food provided by the Food Bank of South Jersey. It is Father Kirk's prayer that eventually their vegetable garden will become a community garden to help the church's immediate neighbors. They've done a lot of other work in some of their older buildings, and I didn't want to go on and on, but great work, Grace Church Merchantville. In a 2013 article in the Anglican Theological Review, Margaret Bullitt Jonas, an Episcopal priest and environmentalist, wrote, quote, "I dare to hope that congregations are awakening to the call to love God, neighbor, and our dear God-given earth as ourselves. I continue to be amazed," she writes, "by the creativity and persistence of so many people of faith. Across the country, Episcopal churches are conducting and implementing energy audits, installing solar panels, and investing in geothermal energy. Many congregations," she writes, "encourage walking, biking, or carpooling to worship services. Groups of parishioners are meeting with political leaders to advocate for climate justice, and one church held an outdoor interfaith prayer vigil in response to a tragic oil spill." She concludes, "In a time of uncertainty and rapid change, when climate change threatens to unravel life as we know it, people and communities are reaching out to each other in love and building new collaborations that are mutually life-giving. In order to build resilience in uncertain times, we need to connect churches and farms and to connect people with each other, with the land, and with the God they love." I know I've only scratched the surface. I'm aware that many of you are taking similar creative steps in your churches to become more energy efficient and environmentally friendly. Keep up the good work. As I mentioned earlier, the Diocese of New Jersey partnered in 2014 with Green Faith in an effort to encourage our congregations to engage in the kind of efforts you just heard about. Here's Father Greg Bazilla with a video to share more about Green Faith and how they might be able to work with your congregation. Father Greg? Oh, is it on the video?
He's coming.
He's coming. There he is.
God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. God so loved the world. The fifth mark of mission is cosmic in its scope. Like the fourth mark, it is an invitation, a reminder to us, a gracious bidding for us to go outside the walls of the church, out into our world to meet our neighbors. And the very good news is that the Spirit of the living God is out ahead of us, out in the world and among our neighbors and organizations and people of goodwill who are doing good things in this world, in fields and farms and 4-H fairs, sunshine, seashore. All around our Garden State are people who are waiting for us to show us their heart for this good creation, looking for partners for ministry and mission to safeguard and sustain the earth. What a wonderful time to be church in the Garden State, to be neighbor in the Garden State. I want to lift up for you the work of the Animal Welfare Ministry of the Diocese Deacon Chris Cox and many others already extending their hands to our neighbors and inviting us to consider more fully our joy in God's creation and the ways in which we, by our care and our compassion, extending our hearts to our neighbors, might speak a good word for God and participate more fully in the redemption and restoration of this world, which is surely God's good heart for us all. I'll make this short and sweet. I think that's all that I would want to say. Let's watch the video and learn more about our neighbors and what's going on in the world and the good work of Green Faith. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We were founded by Episcopalians, Presbyterians, and members of the Jewish community who felt that there had to be a religious response to the range of environmental issues, crises that the world faces. We're based, our work is founded on three core values. We believe that the earth is a gift. We believe that it's our responsibility to take care of that gift. We see consistently and sadly that the environment, things are way out of balance, and we believe that it's fundamental that we've got to wake up and address that imbalance. 6 years ago in New Jersey, 5.5 years ago, we saw with Superstorm Sandy what a climate-changed world looks like. We saw the devastation, we saw the trauma. We see that now in Puerto Rico, in Texas, in Florida, all around the world. We see the evidence of this. And what climate change and environmental degradation do is they make worse all of the problems that the church exists and lives to solve. Climate change accelerates poverty, it displaces people, it increases migration pressures because people can no longer live in places that are ravaged by storms, where there's rising sea levels, where there's no longer safe drinking water. These are our moral issues. They're issues about our deepest beliefs and our values. They're issues about how we take care of God's creation, and that's what we exist to do. So we've worked with churches around the diocese for the last 5 years, helping them do a number of really practical things. We've worked with a number of churches to help them retrofit their facilities so that they operate in a much, much more energy efficient manner. They reduce their carbon footprint. What's great about that is that they save quite a bit of money in the process. The state of New Jersey has generous incentives to help faith-based institutions and other institutions become more energy efficient. We help churches in the diocese access those incentives and make use of them so they get new heating and cooling facilities, new lighting, and can operate in a greener and cleaner and healthier kind of manner.
More recently, I've been the rector of Holy Trinity in South River, and I think it was in my second year, the lights started to go dim in the parish hall and in the church as light bulbs were in need of replacing up high in the high roof of the parish hall and the church. And this became an opportunity for us to jump on the Energy Services Program of Green Faith. The diocese, in partnership with Green Faith, had helped make it affordable for local congregations like mine that don't have a lot of resources to upgrade to more efficient HVAC and lighting for our aging facilities. We paid, I think, $100. We got a program that held us by the hand and helped us through a process of taking stock of our campus, our facilities, our needs. At every step of this program, we had guidance and people to help us reach the next benchmark in
seeking to improve our conservation of the resources entrusted to us, helping us to make the upgrade, helping us to find the money and the technical expertise to get what was going to work best for us in our church building and in our parish hall. Ultimately, that was the Direct Install program funded by the New Jersey Social Responsibility Fund. And we successfully applied for funding, and we got almost every light in our campus replaced and new HVAC in some of our buildings. And that resulted in tremendous energy savings for us. We will continue to benefit from this program for years to come. And I'm not sure that we would have done it, either started it or followed it through all the way to a successful completion without Green Faith.
We do education. We train people of different faiths to understand why it's an obligation morally, religiously to take care of our common home and how to put their beliefs into action in that regard. So we have a fellowship program that we offer each year. The next class is going to start in September of 2018, where people get training to be empowered to do this. We do a lot of activist campaigning. We've been still urging and tweaking and encouraging the diocese to divest its investments from fossil fuels. The Diocese of Newark has made strides in that direction. The National Church has also, and we think that's an important form of witness. We have a new campaign this year to encourage clergy and people of faith to make commitments to sustainable lifestyles, to reduce the amount of meat they eat, to minimize car travel and airline travel, to conserve energy at home, because those behaviors are the ones that create the biggest impact on a personal level. We're really eager to continue to build on the partnership that we've been developing with the diocese. We're religious environmental specialists. The congregations that we work with are on the front lines of these issues, and we do all of our work in partnership with you and with other congregations around the state, around the country, and around the world. So I hope